FTHo Brecht. Mr. Brecht, will you stand, please, and raise your right hand? You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Sit down, please.
It's a film. There are four main characters: an aspidistra plant, a bust of Cicero, some infertile bananas, and a disco ball, or maybe just the concept of the disco. And there will be a voice narrating, but this voice isn't a character. This voice is duration.
Fasciosos net, het zich geloren, walling op zit, zorgzorg, schouwwagen de veel niet heel steden ook heb. Maar het merk ze ook zit het niet zo weinig echt, dus doen ze snel was een zaad van op zich maar. Hier power along it my boat, in after and all sleep, he is equal down on it. Maar betroog je dat wie is naar Hansli.
And when the character of Cicero speaks, it will be in the rhetorical, in the uppercase and using Times New Roman. And he will be his flat totem, standing upright, several shades of grey synonym.
Mr. Brecht, will you please state your full name and present address for the record, please? Speak into the microphone.
Words will be combined and recombined until they become recombinants, phenomes, sterile progenies. Symbols polished until they are made smooth by the slow erosion of tongues. Their genealogy cut off through servitude, abbreviation. Seedless breeds will be cultivated with hybrid vigour. And Brecht will be in the film, the voice of Brecht, and he will slip on language as if it were oily.
Mr. Brecht, the committee has a...
What was that date again?
Would you give the date again?
10th of February, 98.
In the film, words will be semantic molecules, and as they are spoken in sequence, they will transition sticky through ontologies. They will gather inflections, associations, perversions, and the narrator will be unable to control them. Mind will be used as a verb for an ungraspable set of subjective properties. It minds, it is minding. The tongue of the voice will be restless, its movement choreographed by some out-of-shot arrangement of abstractions, and it will be always working, masticating on symbols to shift and arrange, sift for value. It will search for cracks on the frictionless surface of semantics, somewhere to hold, to grasp, to stop.
Chairman, the committee has here an interpreter, if you desire, the use of an interpreter.
Thank you.
Would you like an interpreter? Do you desire an interpreter?
Yes, I think you, yes, when you could help me when I need to.
Not Nunu is so named to differentiate it from its predecessor, Nunu. Binary chronology. Its marked feature is being not subject, being other from the object. When Nunu departed, as nouns do, not Nunu was left, an ill, an im, an er, an unfish, ghost of a departed quantity, non-entity, beyond, upon, after, meta Nunu, referent without reference, negative prefix. And throughout the film, although you don't hear it, the narrator ingests symbols in the air and then they leave the disembodied body extruded. At some point, the film might suggest that we have entered the new sphere, a cerebral aquarium populated by feedback loops, circumnavigating physicality, simultaneous and anti-spatial. If X is Cicero, or the Aspidistra, our protagonists without agency, are we perhaps beyond the topological, in some fractal domain? Porous omniscience seeps into everything, perverting and deforming objects and biological interactions. And the symbols themselves would try to be together, sprouting philosophy out of areas of infection. Language will undergo nuclear decay and will articulate the limits of the digital imagination. It will become half-life, eventually disintegrating into ailing algorithm and emitting radiation. In one of the final acts, the narrator will actually get trapped inside the causal nexus. I will shuffle your conditions, and you will shuffle mine, and evolution will be verbatim.
Now, Mr. Bragg, will you state to the committee whether or not you are a citizen of the United States?
I'm not a citizen of the United States. I have only my first papers.
And Wittgenstein should definitely feature.
Der Haifisch, der hat Zähne und die trägt er im Gesicht. Und Mäckis, der hat ein Messer, doch das Messer sieht man nicht. An dem schönen blauen Sonntag liegt ein toter Mann am Strand und ein Mensch geht die Ecke, den man Mäcki Messer nennt. Und Schmulmeier bleibt verschwunden und so mancher reiche Mann und sein Geld hat Mäcki Messer, den man nicht beweisen kann.
There will be a nightclub scene, or maybe just a feeling, of debris. Rationality will sediment around the disco, 4 to the floor deep, forming a mineral skin that will choreograph the moment when the film loses control.
Where had you resided prior to going to Helsinki, Finland?
May I read my statement? In that statement I have...
First, Mr. Bragg, we're trying to identify you. The identification won't be very long.
There would be a transformation of the character of the disco in the film, becoming increasingly flexible through stretching. Eventually arriving at total pocket-sized mobility, this character would be the survivor in the story. Disco's legacy will remain after numerous violent scenes of compression. But within the film, this reductive frame, the voice of the narrator will unwillingly reach for new words. It will colonize and become possessed by language. Neoliberal libidinal frames will start to reply to the protagonists. They will speak of freedom in the continued breakdown of molecular structure, of mellifluent epistemologies becoming malignant. Postulate gumguards. And then the words will go on, but the film will stop.